Shalom Aleichem, everybody. This video is inspired by a section in chapter 48 of Tanya. Beautiful idea, beautiful lesson that B'ezrat Hashem will be able to bring into the world and take something from this lesson. And that general idea, it's back to this idea that in order for Hashem creates the worlds, and there's an infinite number of realities, of worlds in all of reality as a whole that Hashem creates. And all of these levels that Hashem creates, notice how I said create in the present tense, because Hashem creates at every moment. He didn't just create the world and the worlds, but rather He creates all of reality at every moment, recreates all reality. And that if Hashem was to stop creating anything for even a moment, it would revert back to as if it never existed at all. And we see that there are four general worlds, as I've explained in the past, that we talk about in a lot of these lessons. But within those four worlds, there's an infinite number of worlds and different levels that you can always go deeper and deeper, and sub-worlds within the worlds that we'll get to B'ezrat Hashem one day. But to understand this better, and there's even levels above the four general worlds, but that's for also another day, Bli Neder B'ezrat Hashem, which means God willing. One day. And in order for us to understand this, Hashem, what makes one of the spiritual worlds higher than another spiritual world is the amount of godly revelation that is experienced in that world. The more godly revelation in that world, the higher, so to speak, the world is. It's not physical, but it's a higher spiritual world. The world contains, the world not just contains, but the world itself experiences a much greater revelation of godliness. It's much closer it's closer, meaning it experiences its source much more. It's much more aware of its source. And the more you go down spiritually, the more you go down in the worlds, the more the beings experience less of their creator. The more the beings are less aware of Hashem. So obviously this physical world is the lowest of all the worlds. It's so low that it's physical. What we'll get to is that obviously there's always a connection. The lowest is always connected to the highest, but that we'll get to. But just to give us a little sneak peek into what this is all talking about. But this world is the lowest seemingly of all the worlds. It's the point where we're actually physical, where we experience physical, coarse physicality. Whereas angels in the higher levels of worlds and souls before they're enclosed in bodies, they're not in physical bodies. And as the Rebbe Rashab explains, that when a soul is outside of the body, when the soul is experiencing reality connected to Hashem out beyond the body, even our souls now, we have a level of our soul that's above our body, that we sometimes when we have great spiritual moments, we have great connection to Hashem, we tap into a little bit more of our soul, but the vast majority of our soul is above this reality. And when we tap into that, we're tapping into something much higher. But a soul, as it is above the body, it understands godliness at a much higher degree, and that's connected to the higher levels of the worlds. We have five levels of our soul, each connected to the four general worlds and to Hashem Himself. The highest is connected to Hashem Himself, Etzem, and which we'll also get to B'ezrat Hashem. We spoke about that in previous videos, but hopefully we'll get to it again. And so what makes a world higher or lower than another world is its experience of God, of Hashem's presence. And there's two general levels of godly revelation. There's or pnimius, or soivev, or makif, or sovev, or mamale, or makif, or pnimius. Which basically there's two names for each of them. But to say there's the surrounding light, the encompassing surrounding light, and then there's the internal light. Meaning there's the way Hashem reveals Himself to us, the way He's removed, and He's hidden from us. There's always, in every situation that we experience, there's always a amount that Hashem reveals Himself to us, that the godly light is revealed. When you're learning Torah, there's always a amount of the Torah that's revealed to you, how Hashem's revealing Himself to you through this Torah, how much you're tapping into, how much you're grasping, and how much is above you grasping you, so to speak. That's why it's called surrounding light. Because when you don't understand a concept, it's like the light surrounds you. And there's always a level that we grasp, and there's always a level that grasps us, so to speak. So Hashem reveals Him. He's so humble, Hashem, that He's obviously above all of us, incomparably, beyond infinitely above each and every one of us, no matter who we are. But yet, Hashem is so humble that He comes and He brings Himself to each and every one of us according to our own level. And this is an unbelievable miracle that Hashem does this, out of Hashem's pure humility. It's unbelievably, it's miraculous to say the least. And this is a very deep concept, and we can keep going, but the main point is to understand that whenever we experience the fact that I could grasp a part of Hashem, but this part I can't grasp, that's only from our perspective. Hashem is grasping us. Just because we can't always grasp Hashem, and there's things that we don't understand, we can't appreciate certain things, but yet, when we appreciate the fact that Hashem grasps us and He's involved with us at every moment, and there's no concealment from His part. Hashem only conceals Himself from us, He only hides Himself from us to give us, because of His greatest kindness, to give us our own experience. If Hashem was to fully reveal Himself to us, think about it. As great as the highest level of these worlds are, they're infinite. There's an infinite revelation of God in some of these worlds, to the point where even the lowest level, the second to lowest level right above us, is greater. The pleasure experience there is greater than any of the pleasure that's been ever. One moment in the lowest level of the Garden of Eden is greater than any of the pleasure that everyone's experienced altogether combined of all time, is nothing compared to one moment in the lowest Gan Eden. And there's infinite levels. So we can imagine how great these realities are, but they're nothing in comparison to Hashem. In comparison to Hashem, this physical world and the highest level of these worlds are as equally small compared to Hashem Himself. But yet Hashem comes to each and every one of us according to our level, because He's so humble. That's why this physical world is what's most interesting to Hashem, what Hashem appreciates the most. Because we're in seemingly the lowest physical world, we have free will. And we could sometimes mistake things, and we could sometimes a person could, God forbid, be unaware of Hashem because we have free will. So this is the world that Hashem is most interested in. Because we're seemingly the furthest away, we can become the closest. It's always like the mirror reflection. Because we're seemingly the furthest away from Hashem, when we come back to Him, it's the greatest pleasure to Hashem. And that's what's going to be revealed to us in the days of Moshiach. This level of pleasure that we cause Hashem when we return to Him, that level, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, didn't even see that full revelation. He saw the outside, the outer edge of that level, so to speak. He saw just a little glimpse, which is just a little glimpse, the greatest level of prophecy of all time. But yet we, in the days of Mashiach, may it be today, we will experience this level that Moses himself was dreaming of. And it's a level Hashem experiences when we do the right thing, when we serve Him, when we do what Hashem wants. That pleasure that Hashem experiences, He's going to share with us. So that's why in this lowest physical world, as great as these levels are, and the person could say, wow, Hashem hides Himself at all these different levels, but Hashem is not bound by His own concealments. Meaning, when we make the first move, Hashem becomes revealed in this physical world. Seemingly, He's hidden at first glance, but that's only to give us the opportunity to have free will, to bring Him into our lives. And then when He comes into our lives, it's a much greater revelation than ever before. Just like the example of when a person was away from someone he loved for very long, when he returns to them, the level of love reaches an even greater level. May it be today that we experience this. God bless you all.